If you were born on the 1st, 10th, 19th, or 28th, you're basically the same person, just 4 different firmware versions. Sounds weird, I know, but that's literally how numerology works. You add up the digits of the date, and it all collapses down to 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, and 10 is 1 again. 2 plus 8, same story. So this isn't 4 separate personalities. It's one personality, run through 4 different filters. And that's where it gets interesting. 1 number, 4 personalities. People with the number 1 are natural-born leaders. Not in the loves bossing people around at the office party way. More like their mind is physically incapable of working any other way. They need to lead, to build, to go first. The sun is their planet. Red is their color. Ruby is their stone. Sunday's their lucky day. Sounds pretty romantic, but really it's just a way of describing energy that burns and never really goes out. Strengths: independence, honesty, creativity, drive, self-confidence. Weaknesses: self-centeredness, vanity, bossiness, hating criticism. Yeah, no sugarcoating there. Among the ones, company founders, billionaires, people whose names you've definitely heard before. I'll get to who exactly, and why that's not a coincidence. Now, one by one, here's what sets each of them apart. Born on the 1st, you've got a clean mind. That's literally how the source describes it. A young soul. Not much doubt, plenty of drive. This kind of person sees a goal and just goes. No long hesitation. No, what if it doesn't work out? The catch: not everyone can keep up. Ones often get disillusioned with people because everyone else moves slower, second guesses more, and their royal opinion doesn't always land well. So there's a risk of sliding into pessimism, and it happens quietly, without them even noticing. Take William Boeing, born October 1st. Founded the aircraft company that still carries his name, over a century later. By most accounts from people who knew him, he moved faster than anyone around him could keep up with, and had a hard time tolerating doubters. Clean mind in action, with all the upsides and the baggage that comes with it. So what do you do about it? Learn to actually understand other people. Not adapt to them. Understand them. That's a different thing. And learn to give, not just achieve. Ones are wired for set the goal and sprint, but the energy of giving back is usually underdeveloped. Born on the 10th, buckle up. It's a whole different intensity. Here's where it gets funny. Same digit on paper, way more explosive in practice. People born on the 10th are described in the source as the most energetic leaders of the whole group. Not just leaders, the most energetic. The pace is so intense that people around them simply can't keep up. But here's the serious part. The psyche of someone born on the 10th starts out dissatisfied by default, with themselves, with everyone around them, with the situation. Like there's an inner critic that never clocks out. And that dissatisfaction is fuel and poison at the same time. Left unprocessed, it eats you from the inside. Worked through properly, it turns into what the book literally calls an over-result. Second thing, the reset energy. Sounds like sci-fi, but it's simple. 10ths start faster than anyone, but don't always finish what they started. New idea shows up. Old project gets dropped. Next idea shows up. Same thing happens again. Pavel Durov was born on October 10th. Watch how this lines up. Founded VK, clashed with the board, walked away. Started Telegram, a fresh sprint, a whole new 0 point. Not because he can't finish things, because that psyche genuinely needs a new start once the old fire burns out. Sound familiar? A lot of ones would say yes.
Born on the 19th, you're a fire leader. This is a whole different level of intensity.
The source flat out calls these people fire leaders, the strongest leadership traits of the whole four, capable of creating incredible things, literally. Mukesh Ambani, head of Reliance Industries and one of the richest men in Asia, was born April 19th. Took his father's business and scaled it into a petrochemical and telecom giant. That incredible thing right there. But alongside it, a long, brutal fight with his brother Anil over the company's inheritance, one that nearly split it into two warring camps. That's the destructive side of the fire right there. Because fire has a flip side, destruction. And it's not a poetic metaphor, it's a real trait. The tendency to tear down what's already built if something goes wrong. What helps balance that energy out? Constant learning. Not degrees, just keeping your brain in always learning something new mode. That strips away the naivety that comes from the number 9. And in the date 19, that 9 isn't just a digit, it's part of who they are. One more thing. People born on the 19th tend to serve others, help constantly, carry other people's problems on their own back. And that's exactly what drags them down. They help and end up tangled in someone else's mess. The advice here is blunt. Run on cold calculation instead of the urge to rescue everyone. Born on the 28th? You're a management genius, the most structured of the four. Here the energy plays out not through a sprint forward, like the ones, and not through burning up like the 19s, but through a deep understanding of how to run and manage processes. Can work incredibly hard, capable of creating brilliant things purely by controlling the entire process from start to finish. Fun fact from the source. People born on the 28th often end up owning some of the biggest companies out there, and Bill Gates and Elon Musk get cited as the examples. Gates isn't just founded Microsoft. At 26, he basically dictated the rules for the entire future software industry without even finishing his degree. Musk is the classic control freak operator, jumps into completely different industries, payments, cars, space, and builds the exact same top-down control structure in every single one. Coincidence or not, you decide, but the book's logic holds up. To unlock the potential of the 28th, you need to combine the ability to actually listen to people with the drive to control them. It's through big structures and teams that these people hit their biggest results. The downside: grudges and inflated expectations of others. If a 28th doesn't let that go in time, they get stuck sulking instead of acting. So what do all four have in common? 1st, 10th, 19th, 28th. Look, all four. Can't work under tight control. It suffocates them. Can't stand having their leadership questioned. Burn with an inner fire that either creates or destroys. Struggle when forced to answer to someone else for too long. Find fulfillment through their own thing, not someone else's project. The only difference is where the motivation comes from and what shape that energy takes. The first moves forward simply because that's how it's built. The 10th moves because of that constant, I'm not satisfied, so I need more. The 19th burns, and sometimes burns everything around it along with itself. The 28th builds structures and manages the process instead of charging ahead. Careers that pull all four of them in. Running their own business. Medicine, often specifically as a doctor, not support staff. Management, manager, director, administrator. Finance and law. Acting, directing, creative work, design. Politics, if they've got the patience for compromise. Spoiler, usually they don't. Basically, any field where you can be first, not just one of many. And yeah, if you recognized yourself in this one's, in any of the four versions, rarely turn out average. Either they take off or they spiral hard, depending on whether they've learned to manage that energy. The core task, whether you're a 1st, a 10th, a 19th, or a 28th, is the same. Stop trying to prove you're right to everyone around you and actually start listening. Not because someone else is smarter, but because without that skill, all that power just spins its wheels, like an engine with no gearbox. Powerful, going absolutely nowhere.